everyone, it's Michelle from Scrap Secrets and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to take a break from the Countdown to Christmas card series to create this shaped card using two stamp sets from Honeybee. Now there are coordinating dies, but I did not have them, so I'm going to show you how you can create a shaped card without the coordinating dies. So the two stamp sets we're using from Honeybee are Big Pickup Cab and Big Pickup Tailgate. And I stamped them onto some Canson XL Watercolor paper using Catherine Pooler Midnight ink. Since I've never inked these stamp set before, and since we're stamping on textured cardstock, I did have to stamp them a couple times, but it gives a really nice image once you do it. And after you use the stamp once or twice, you really only will have to stamp it down once. So it's just kind of conditioning the stamp. Now we're going to pull out the Gansi Tambi watercolors that we used for the image. I used the gem colors as well as the pearl colors. For the majority of it, I used the pearl colors, which you see here, and I'm just taking one of my watercolor brushes and mixing up the water with the watercolor in the pan to create this color. And what made me think of doing this in blue is that I pulled out my Christmas decorations the other day, and I have a rug for downstairs that has an old truck like this one, and it has this really pretty light blue on it, and I wanted to do the truck blue. I was trying to think, what could I do? I could use Copic markers, I could use colored pencils, I could have used my Inktense, although I only really have that one blue. I could have made it work. And then I remembered that I had these watercolors that I very rarely use. If I've used them, I might have used them less than a handful of times. So I thought, let's pull these out and let's experiment and see how well they work. The reason I chose these again is also not only because I haven't used them and I'm trying to use my supplies, but also they have a little bit of shine and sparkle to them with the pearl ones, so I thought that would look really good as like kind of metallic for the truck. So I'm just using my brush and picking some of that color up off of it, putting it down onto the cardstock, and then using the smaller brush to pull that color out. I also will be going back into the pan and picking up some of that color. So really there's no special technique here. I am going to show you coloring almost the whole entire thing. I did cut some of it out so you guys weren't super bored. But I tried to get some definition between like the parts of the truck that would be darker and the parts that would be lighter. So let me know how you think I did. I definitely need some practice watercoloring, controlling the color that goes on there. I think that I put it a little bit too heavy on the front of the truck, the pieces that I'm painting right now. But I had fun doing this. It was, it was something different to do because usually I do Copic markers or Inktense colored pencils. So, or if I do watercoloring, I usually do them with Distress inks and Distress oxides. So this was something that was different and pretty much new to me. So again, just going over the area, I wanted these two pieces to be, which I guess are like the front bumpers. I don't even know. I'm terrible with car parts and stuff. I mean, I know where the tires and the steering wheel are and the lights and things, but I have no idea what most of the other stuff that you know, parts to a car. So whatever these pieces are, I think they came out a little bit too dark based off the rest of it. So now I'm going back and adding more because I guess I didn't think that there was enough. And on the top, you can see like that little shine there. And I think it looks really nice. It gives it a little bit of texture to it. You could also get this effect with, you could do some of the sprays. You could mix it in with the watercolor, like the pearlescent stuff. Perfect Pearls would be a great thing to mix into the watercolor to guide and give it that metallic pearly look. Again, just going back in and trying to define the area. So if two areas were right next to each other, I tried to make them different shades of that same color so that you could tell where one section ended and another section began. So now we're going to do the tailgate piece of this. So what's nice about this is the tailgate stamp set has a bunch of letters that could go onto the back of the tailgate, like where it would normally say the make of the truck. You could put it on there, and then there's a little license plate, and there's also little sentiments that can go in the license plate as well. So you can kind of customize it to different occasions. And originally I thought that I was going to do something with Christmas, like maybe put a tree coming out of the back of here. This is actually going to be the second card that goes to my swap partner for the Christmas one. So for the swap, again, I will leave the Facebook information down below for the group if you would like to participate. I do not believe that we're doing any more swaps until next year, but if you wanted to head over to the group and check it out and see what people are doing and see if you're interested in the swap, again, I'll leave that information below in the more information section. But what we do is you do one card that's on whatever theme it is. So I have 2 more themes left for this year. Christmas, which will be going out tomorrow. So that was the lantern card that you saw. And then the second card is kind of just a kind of getting to know you card. You're supposed to write a note inside of it. I usually leave it blank, and I also send 2 envelopes. You're only supposed to, the requirements are 1, so you have 1 that you send to the person that has your information in it, kind of like a hello, this is how long I've been crafting kind of thing, like anything you want to tell the recipient, and then the other one is supposed to be a card for them to send out. I've kept all the cards that I got. I actually got a huge package of stuff today, so I will be doing that video too to show you guys the random act of kindness stuff that came in the mail along with my cards. But if that's something that you're interested in, I will leave that information below. But that's kind of, it doesn't have to be a Christmas card, so I thought, I was making a lot of Christmas cards. Let's make something else, and I decided to do this. So hopefully she likes it. It's a little, both of the cards are a little, I would guess would say off-brand for what I normally do. It's kind of outside of my comfort zone, but I kind of do like the way they turned out. I just have, again, you know, like I always say, if I was going to do this card over, I would actually use my brother's Scan and Cut to cut this out rather than fussy cut it like I did, because I didn't get a clean circle around the mirrors. So anyway, just going back in and finishing coloring up the parts of the truck this same blue. So yeah, I hope that you guys, I hope that you're enjoying the Christmas series, and, you know, me throwing a random card in here. You know, you guys are probably expecting all Christmas cards for me for the rest of, you know, for at least for another couple weeks. But I think I am going to do some other projects. I am also going to be taking the girls one day, and we are going to be doing some crafting. So hopefully I'll be able to take some pictures of that. I probably won't do a video on crafting with them, but I might do like a compilation of pictures of stuff that they are going to make. So now I'm just finishing up the blue pieces by dipping my paintbrush into the pan, and that was off camera. I apologize for that, but I was just trying to keep this as much in camera as possible. So just filling in the back, like that's the tailgate part of it. That's why they call it a tailgate stamp set. And then I realized I probably should go in and fill in that big white. I was thinking that piece that I left white that on the tailgate, I was thinking that was the license plate, and then I'm like, wait, what's the license plate on the bottom? So a little slow on the uptake there. But coloring in the rest of that, the front, I guess under the bumper. I'm not even sure if that's where it's supposed to be. So now I am taking the gem red and putting the lights on. I should have waited because this wasn't completely dry and it does bleed. And I say this every single video and I have not learned yet. Wait for it to dry. But I'm like the world's most impatient person. You can see there, it kind of got onto some of the blue. So I just kind of dabbed it off. If you didn't see the video, you probably never would have known that I did that. But you saw the video, so you know that I messed up. And as always, I try to leave my mistakes in there so that you guys can see them. And then I just went over it with a little bit of blue to kind of patch it. So I also believe that this is when, do I go in and color the tailgate? I might do that right here. I don't remember. Oh, so we were going in with, some Tumbled Glass Distress ink, I believe that was, and we're gonna do the windows. Now I had originally done the Tumbled Glass. I thought that's what I was going to do. I was going to use distress inks and distress oxides to paint the whole thing, And then I realized it wasn't very dark and I wanted to do something different. It wasn't giving me the effect that I wanted to, but this is so light, it's great for windows. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna use the tumbled glass for the windshield. So that gives it, it's nice that you can mix mediums like that. And you also see I used the yellow from the pearls to do the lights. I did that, I must have done that off camera because I don't think I showed that. So there you go, just coloring in the windows with the tumbled glass. So even the back section. I probably should use a little bit less water with that and then just colored those in a little bit darker, those windows. But again, if I ever make this card again, that's what I would do. So now we're using some Distress ink in black soot for the tires. I put a little bit too much water in this, so I am going to go to the section that doesn't have a lot of water on it and try to pick up more of that pigment to go back in and go over the tires. I did leave a little bit of a highlight at the bottom of all of the tires. So I'm going to go around and do all 4 of these the exact same way. And I was trying to figure out how I could put tread on the tires because I thought they looked really, really plain. I thought they needed something else to them. So once they dry, I do go back and add some texture on there. I think that's really important if you have an image like this that's just really just a line image, that you add details to the image. Like adding, I don't know, rust spots on the truck, or adding treads to the tires, or, you know, just adding things on there that give the truck a little bit more character. Now we're going in and doing the lights, or the mirrors, I'm sorry, the mirrors with that same color, and as well as the steering wheel. And I believe we go in with a gray to do the mirror. Oh no, use the same exact thing. So we use the black soot, but it looks kind of gray because I've watered it down so much. I thought we actually used a gray, but I think we use a gray in another portion of it. Again, I did this a couple of days ago and I forget what I did because I've done so many other crafty things in between. So I apologize that I didn't remember what I did. So now we're going in and just filling in the rest of the mirror, and then we're gonna do the tailgate part the exact same way. So I figured a little differentiation, make that little, the piece that hooks it onto the windshield, make that a little bit darker. So now again, we're gonna do the mirrors, we're going to do the tires, and I think that, and then the rear view mirror is going to be done in the same exact colors. So I just took a piece of paper towel and dabbed a little bit of it up because it came out too dark. It looked almost black. So that's a great tip. If you are watercoloring and before it dries, you want to sop up some of that water and some of that color, take a piece of paper towel and just dab right over it. It also creates a little bit of texture too. You can create a little bit of texture that way. But I just usually take the corner of the paper towel and just put it down, and it'll soak that water right up and take some of that color with it to lighten it up. Very easy to do. It will help if you, like in areas like we did with the light, if you get 2 colors that are still wet and they're kind of blending with each other, you can take the paper towel and do the exact same thing. Just a little trick if you guys didn't already know that, although you probably already do know that because you're probably much better at watercoloring than I am. But, you know, I'm still learning. I'm still in the very early stages of the learning process. But I am watching people's videos on how to get better at watercoloring. I love watching people do it, especially people who freehand things. I can't even figure out how to do that. That is some serious talent when you can just freehand things. Like people that freehand scenes, I am so amazed by. So, okay, so now we are using the white pearl to go in and almost be like a, I'm sorry, no, I'm sorry. This is weathered wood that we're using on here. We do the pearl white in a little bit. So this is Distress ink that is really watered down. It's a very, very light gray. I wanted it to be like a silver color. So I think I did add a little bit of the pearl, the white pearl to this to kind of give it a little bit of shine. But I wanted it to have that like gray tint. I wanted it to almost look like the silver that's on trucks and cars and things. So going over the bumper, and then we will also go over the, I want to say it's the grates on front of the car. I don't know. You car people are going to have you're probably like completely cringing and thinking, oh my gosh, how does she, how does she not know parts of a car? My best friend's husband is a mechanic, and he probably is, if he heard this, he probably would cringe. So again, I'm doing the same thing. I'm dipping my paintbrush into the pearl white and then a little bit into the distress ink in weathered wood, just to kind of give it a little bit of that silver look. But then I also wanted it to still be shiny. So I added it to whatever that is, I guess the lights underneath the main lights. Again, I apologize. I butchered this car. Or the parts of the car. I didn't butcher the car. I butchered the parts of the car, the names of the parts. So just going back in, and even though these two are right next to each other, like the bumper and the grate, it doesn't matter because they can flow into each other. And these weren't very watered down. The more watered down you are, the more likely they are to run into each other. These ones were actually a little bit thicker because I didn't add as much water to there. So I'm experimenting with that too. So now I'm just going in with straight weathered wood in between where the grates are, because that would have a shadow, it would cast a shadow down. So I wanted to make that a little bit darker. So I think I really like this. This is one of the parts that I really liked about the truck, is I think this came out good because it was some shadow. So I'm trying to remember to do that with watercolor and trying to figure out how to actually do it. I know to do it, I just can't always get it to look the way I want it to look. So I'm, again, learning how to get different shades of the same color, so that I can shade things in and create shadows and light areas and things. So I'm just coloring in the bottom. I have no idea what color this is supposed to be. It's probably supposed to be the blue, but I decided to color it in like that grayish silver. Then just that last piece, the hood ornament, or the part on the top of the hood, I don't know, whatever that is. I colored that in silver, and then I'm going to work on the tailgate piece. I'm going to color the bottom in silver, and I guess I still didn't realize, either I still thought that was the license plate, or I just didn't realize I haven't colored that in yet. So again, going back in, doing the exact same thing, picking up a teeny tiny bit of the pearl white. So, all right, so I did color it in off camera, and then this is one of the stamps from that big tailgate stamp set, the Hello. And we're going to ink it up with the same exact Catherine Pooler Midnight ink. I'm going to ink it up a couple times because it's going onto bumpy paper, it's brand new, and then it's also going over shiny watercolor. So this will take a couple seconds to dry. And it also takes a couple of impressions because the background is shiny. I felt like it wasn't giving a very vibrant look. I probably should have used Versa Fine to do this, but I didn't have it out on my table. So I just inked this up a couple times on the back. And it just says hello, and then I could have put something else in the bottom, but I didn't do that. So now, after I was done stamping that, I moved on to some Nuvo drops as well as glossy accents. So the glossy accents are on the lights, and then I used some black Nuvo drops on the bolts on the back, the front and the back of the truck. I used some glossy accents on the yellow lights as well. So that's pretty much it for the glossy accents. And then I fussy cut them out, which, again, if I had to do this over again, I would use my brother's Scan and Cut. And then I cut a piece of watercolor cardstock down to fit on the top, and then I just trimmed it off and to make it be the shape of the top of the card. And then this is going to be my connector piece for the two pieces to make it into a shaped card. Very easy to do. Just cut a piece of cardstock down to a little bit smaller than the very top size of the card, folded it in half, and then connected the two with ATG. So these are symmetrical, so those will work. I do not have the dies, so I don't know if you have to buy both sets of dies or if one will cut out the front and the back, but I think it will because it looks like it was almost symmetrical. So that's it for the card. I'm going to show you some close-up pictures. Thank you so much for watching. If you have comments or questions, please feel free to leave them below, and I will see you again for another video. Bye!